Welcome to another Assassin's Creed Origins video, and this time we will take a deeper look in which weapons are the best and why. Because I strongly disagree with all those lists on certain websites which are completely outdated and don't really go deeper in what makes a weapon actually good. But here in this video I will show you all the reasons why certain weapons and weapon types are actually way better than others. First of all, we have to take a look at the stats, because the quality of the weapon is not what makes it a good weapon. The quality is just a calculated value containing the level of the weapon, the number of perk points, and the damage of the weapon multiplied by 2. So a level 55 weapon will get 110 points from the level, plus 2 points for every perk point it has, including the legendary perk. However, there is a small deviation and rounding effects which come from the different DPS of every weapon. The game then uses this calculated quality level and sorts all the weapons in the menu according to that value. So it is easy for new players to find a good weapon, but it doesn't mean that the highest quality level weapon is actually the best one, because the game makes no difference in perks, it only counts the number of them. So the first conclusion is, don't look for quality, because if all your weapons are the same level and all your weapons are legendary weapons, it completely doesn't matter what quality they have. The only real difference will be the DPS value, which is the smaller one on your weapon sheet, and of course the perks and the weapon type. However, the perks won't have as much of an impact as in other games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. All your weapons will roughly deal the same damage, but some of these perks are way better than others. The most important perks are of course the legendary ones. So any weapon that has anything with health on kill, health on critical or health on hit will be far better than anything else, because it will keep you alive, especially in the arena or during boss fights. The best legendary perk for both, however, is the range multiplier, because it simply doubles your damage for almost every shot you make. And since you are farther away from your enemies and you rarely get hit, you don't really need the health on kill, health on critical or health on hit on your bows. So rather go for the range multiplier on bows, because it will just be as strong as if you have a cursed bow without even removing your health. You also have to consider that the game has 7 different melee weapon types, and these melee weapon types are connected to their abilities. A lot of weapon types have the Overpower ability, which simply makes a very powerful attack to one enemy, which is almost guaranteed to kill him, and then if you get lucky you can still use his weapon and kill a second one. So that will most likely kill 1 or 2 enemies. Other weapons have the Rage Mode ability, and that ability has the Flaming Adrenaline bar. When this is filled up, you will enter Rage Mode and all your attacks will be way faster than before. This allows you to do some crazy combos, especially on weapons with a combo multiplier, and kill a lot of enemies very quickly. Rage Mode is the preferred ability because you can not only kill 1 or 2 enemies, if you get lucky you can kill up to 4, 5 or even 6 enemies during a single Rage Mode. And if you have a high adrenaline gaining weapon, you can also enter Rage Mode again and again very quickly. For bows this is a bit different, because every bow type has its own behavior, and that behavior actually matches a certain ability from Odyssey. And the hunter bows are just having the normal behavior of normal arrows, and you can actually charge them and they will deal a lot of damage when you do so. The predator bows will have the predator shot ability with the guided arrows. The warrior bow will have the spread shot ability, and since you never really use spread shot in Odyssey, you could also conclude that you will probably never use the warrior bows in Origins 2. The light bow will match the rapid shot from Odyssey, but it also has very limited use. It shoots a lot of arrows very quickly. However, since you don't have so many arrows and you can't craft them yourself, the use of the light bow is still very limited. But now let's finally take a look at all the best weapons in this game, and we'll start with swords. The best sword in Origins is probably the Sword of the Duat. The Sword of the Duat is the only weapon in the game which has all its 8 perk points filled, which also makes it the highest quality level weapon in the game due to the in-game counting of perk points. But the perks aren't rubbish. You have the insane combo multiplier, which doubles or triples your damage the more hits you actually make on your enemies, and you have a crazy hit rate as well, combined with the health on hit, which is probably the best health perk you can have on a weapon. All this makes the Sword of the Duat a really deadly weapon, and potentially one of the best weapons in the game if there was not the big downside of its ability, because it only has the Overpower Attack, which certainly will kill every enemy which you attack with it, but you will also only kill 1, and if you're lucky you will kill the second guy with the throw. So having Rage Mode on a different type of sword with the same stats or even better stats will potentially outperform this one by far. The Sword of the Duat can be collected in the Trial of the Gods, and for that you only have to beat the hard one, the one which is level 58. It doesn't matter which god you beat, you just have to beat the first time the level 58 one and it will automatically drop the Sword of the Duat. If you can't play the Trial of the Gods yet, then you should actually look for the Golden Wolf, which is a really good early game weapon which has almost the same abilities and perks. You can unlock this when you beat the very first Phylake in the game. The best weapon in the category Sickle Sword goes hands down to the Pearl of Dur-Jakin. The Pearl of Dur-Jakin does so many things right that you can almost completely ignore its stats. Because it has health on hit, that is the only thing that matters. It is a sword which is really good in movement and everything else, and it has rage mode. So that is the sword which we actually want to play with. Instead of the others which all have only the overpower kill, this sword can enter rage mode and you kill a lot of enemies when you play with that sword in the arena. And on top of that, it does not only have rage mode and a good perk, it also has a hidden ability which all sickle swords actually share, because they can break the guard of even the heaviest shielded enemies without using an ability for it. You can see that with the really big shield guys in the arena, you can simply use your sickle sword, they will be caught off guard and they are an easy target. So for this weapon I couldn't care less about the regular perks, I just want the health perk, I want the rage mode and the ability to turn around every shield in the game. That is probably one of the best weapons, if not the best in the entire game. I was easily able to reach wave 37 with that weapon in the arena and I could have played much longer if I didn't die on accident. Sadly, there is no other sickle sword in this game which has better stats and also has a health perk. If this sword had anything like a combo multiplier or adrenaline regeneration, this would be an absolute beast. Like every other weapon except for the Trial of the Gods weapon, you can get this weapon as well from the Heka chests from Reda. Dual swords is a category I personally don't really like, and the fact that they have the overpower ability which only kills one enemy and then you can kill the other one with a throw doesn't make them more appealing either. Dual swords are meant to be a really fast weapon, comparable to daggers in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I really wished they had rage mode for this weapon, but sadly that's not the case. However, if you still want to play with that weapon type, then I really recommend you to get the Blades of Tooth with adrenaline regeneration, combo multiplier and the health on kill. Other good options are of course the Fatal Duat and the daggers of Tuk and Amun. Heavy blunts are actually really outstanding because these are rage mode weapons, and despite them being actually slow, during rage mode you can wield them quite quickly and kill all the enemies around you. For me the best heavy blunt is by far the Copper Mace. It has all 4 points on adrenaline on kill, it has a combo multiplier and it has health on hit. This is an absolute deadly combination and probably one of the best combination on any rage mode weapon. I really wish that the sickle sword Dur-Jakin had any perks like that. The heavy blades don't have the rage mode, they only have the overpower, so they don't benefit from the increased speed like the heavy blunts, so they stay slow forever. However, if you still want to use one of them, then I could really recommend either the Palmette Carver or the Headsplitter. Both of them give you a health perk and a ton of adrenaline. The next category is one of the best category in the game. The Scepters are an incredible weapon type. They are not only fast, but they also have rage mode and most of them have a combo multiplier. The best of them is the Scepter from the Trial of the Gods. It has a maximum combo multiplier and it gives you an increased critical hit rate together with health on critical, which works really well. This is definitely one of the best and fastest weapons in the game. You should definitely try it out. You will deal massive amounts of damage together with that combo multiplier, especially during rage mode. If you don't have the Scepter yet, you can also check out the ceremonial staff, which is additionally on fire, and since you enter rage mode so often, it is really not mandatory to have a health perk on that weapon type. However, you could of course also use any other scepter which has a health perk instead. Spares are probably my least favorite weapon type, and since there is no rage mode in this game and only the Overpower Attack, it doesn't really make it any better. However, I still want to make a honorable mention here for the Sarissa spare, which is easily obtainable from a low level Phylake, and you can make use of it when you are riding on your horse and kill every enemy around you. That is probably a really good method also for the money farming, but other than that, just don't play with spares. There are so much other weapons which are way better than spares. So what are the overall best melee weapons across all categories? I would actually award the first place to the Pearl of Dur-Jakin, because it has rage mode and that makes it so much better than any other sword out there. And it also has that hidden ability that you can simply turn every enemy's shield around no matter how big it is and hit them without using an ability for it. That makes it simply such a good weapon, especially when you fight in the arena. However, any other sword can also be very good if you only fight one enemy at a time. The second place I would award to the Scepter, because the Scepter has actually all the perks I wish the Dur-Jakin actually had. However, it is only a scepter, so it has a different set of moves, but it is so quick and so fast, and the combo makes so much fun that I would place it the close second. On the third place is the Sword of the Duat. It doesn't have rage mode, it only has the Overpower Attack, but it has an insane combo multiplier, the highest perk count in the game, and it is simply a sword, so I love it anyway. The Sword of the Duat is still an incredible weapon due to its combo multiplier, and if you only fight one enemy at a time, it can be an absolute beast. The fourth place I would actually award to the Copper Mace, which also is a rage mode weapon, so it can be faster and actually negates the effect of being a slow weapon, but it is really useful with incredibly good perks. So these are my 4 most favorite melee weapons of all time for Assassin's Creed Origins. For bows, I rather have a short list. My favorite bow type actually is the hunter bow, because I can use them in the most efficient way and they don't take as long as using predator bows every time. My number 1 hunter bow is the ash bow, because the ash bow is the only hunter bow that actually has the range multiplier, which means it is the only hunter bow that actually doubles your damage. That puts it way ahead of any other hunter bow. However, if you want a different hunter bow that actually refills your health, then I would recommend you the horn bow. For the predator bows, there's also only one I could really recommend, which is the Jebel Berkal. The Jebel Berkal, similar to the ash bow, also has the range multiplier, which doubles all your damage. You could of course also go for the smoke and mirrors or for the trophy hunter, which has an elevation multiplier, which works in a similar way than the range multiplier. The only real light bow I ever like to play with is the Epidemic. The Epidemic has fire arrows and a very much increased fire rate, which literally burns everything under Egypt's sun. And since I absolutely dislike any warrior bow, there is nothing I would actually recommend you except for not using a warrior bow. There are much better options in the other 3 categories. So these are my top 3 bows of all time in Assassin's Creed Origins, with the hunter bows clearly being at the top. Don't forget, you can get every mentioned weapon simply from purchasing Heka chest or from the Trial of the Gods. I hope this video was helpful. If you have a different opinion about your weapons, let me know in the comments. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave me a like, and see you next time.